Alright guys, so in this video what I'm going to be showing you is how to solve for x in a basic algebraic equation. So in this video alone we're just going to be looking at simple equations where you just use addition or subtraction to find an isolated x, or any kind of algebraic letter you want. Doesn't really matter, but the go-to letter is always x. So let's start with addition. So let's say for example that we have 2 plus x is equal to 5. Now, for anybody who's new to this or is kind of starting to get their hands dirty with a bit of algebra, this might look a bit weird to you at first, just because if you are at this basic level, you're probably very used to just having numbers on one side, whether it be for addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. And you're just looking at those two numbers to find out what would go onto this side of the equals. So that's what might be a bit different here, is that you have your full equation and all you're really trying to do is find out what this x value is right here. So the way you're going to be doing this is to first isolate for this x, get it just by itself, and then simplify whatever is on the other side of that equal sign for the x. So one big thing to keep in mind is that whenever you are dealing with isolating an x or trying to solve for x, is this equal sign here. And what I mean by that is that whatever happens with one number on one side of the equals is that if you take it to the other side of that equal sign, it has to become the opposite of whatever it is on this side. So for example, if I'm looking at this 2 here and I want to bring it over to this side here, this positive 2 is going to become a negative 2. So think of everything on either side of that equals being a complete opposite to each other. So with that in mind, let's try to isolate our x first. So we have a positive x here. So since our x is positive, there's no need to bring that x to the other side. We have a positive x. We don't need to touch it. We don't need to do anything with it. So that first step is already kind of done for us. So then what we want to do next is bring this 2 to the other side to get x by itself on this equal side. So if I'm bringing this positive 2 over to this side of the equals, this positive 2 is going to become a negative 2. So in that case, we have x is equal to 5 minus 2. So we've done the first step. We've isolated our x here. And all that's left now is to simplify this little part of the equation here. Now it's just basic subtraction, right? So you know that 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. So we can conclude that x is equal to 3. Now, if you don't fully believe me yet, what you can actually do is take this x value that you found and plug it back into your original equation to see if this equation would still hold. So let's say, forget this 5 for example, forget that's not even there. Let's just say for example that we have our 2 plus x. Now we found from this equation above that x was equal to 3. So what we can do is actually take this and plug it into our x here. So doing that, we have 2 plus 3, and adding those together is equal to 5. So we can conclude that 2 plus x equal to 5 rearranged gives us x equals 3, and that holds. Therefore, x is equal to 3. Okay, so that is when you're just doing basic addition and every number is positive. Pretty straightforward. So let's kind of change it up a bit now. Let's get rid of all of this. And let's assume now that we have a negative x. So let's say we have 5 minus x is equal to 1. Now, again, we want to isolate our x, but to make it easier for ourselves, what we want to do is make this x a positive x. Because right now we have negative x, which means we have a negative number here for whatever that x may be. So what I want to do then is bring this x over to the other side like we had done before for the 2. So we're left with 5 is equal to 1 plus x. And now this is just doing what we were doing before when we had our 2 plus x and bringing the 2 over. What we want to do again is take this one here and bring it to the other side. So like saying before, when you bring anything to the other side, it becomes the opposite of what it is. So 1 to the other side, a positive 1 becomes a negative 1, so you're left with 5 minus 1 is equal to x. And again, we take this 5 minus 1, we simplify it, and that gives us 4. So what we can conclude is that x is equal to 4. Once again, for anybody who doesn't believe me, you can take this x and plug it back into the original equation of 5 minus x, which gives us 5 minus 4, plugging this 4 value into the x, which is no doubt equal to 1.